The road to the Kentucky Derby and the Breeders Cup Juvenile takes a major turn this weekend through Keeneland. 7 promising 2-year-olds will line up in the Claiborne Breeders Futurity, a Grade 1 race going 1 mile and 16 on the dirt, offering 10 Derby qualifying points and the coveted win, and you're into the Breeders Cup Juvenile. This is where future classic contenders tend to separate themselves from the pack. How will you find your winner? Facts and figures are going to give you the winning edge. I give you the stats, you make the picks. Hi, it's Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra, and I've been an avid horse racing handicapper over 16 years. And here, guess what? I do not give you picks. Oh no, I help you find your winner and teach you what to look for along the way. I'm going to go through the Grade 1 Claiborne Breeders Futurity, and we're going to look contender by contender and evaluate them to those horse racing handicapping angles, identifying their strengths, and see who's poised to take that major step forward on horse racing's biggest stage. And just remember this, horse betting is not legal in every state, so if you're betting, make sure it's legal. Now let's start out with those angles that you're going to want to use to evaluate the contenders too. And the first one is this. This is the first time these horses are going the 1 mile and 16 distance. And for developing 2-year-olds, that is a very long distance. So we're going to need to find those clues in the past performances and their pedigrees to say, hey, can they get this distance? Another factor we're going to look at is the strength of the races that they've been competing in and also the speed. But I want you to realize these are 2-year-olds. They can progress by leaps and bounds between every single race. Now let's talk about how this race typically shapes up. One way could be a horse gets loose on the lead and goes gate to wire. Over the past 25 years, we have seen this 7 times. We actually saw this last year with East Avenue. So in 2018, I went to Keeneland for the Claiborne Breeders Futurity, and I was looking through my form and I come across this horse called Nick's Go. This was way before anybody thought this horse could be Horse of the Year. I noticed he was by one of my favorite sires, Painter. And then I saw these incredible fast workouts and first-time Lasix, and I was like, dang, this is the horse I want. I didn't realize he was 70-1, gate to wire winner, baby, bam. I didn't stop smiling for weeks after that race. So you could have those gate to wire winners. The other thing that can happen is this. 2-year-olds that only know sprints. They go out way too fast and they set up a fast pace, and a horse that's mid-pack or a closer comes in with that late surge, and we've seen that 40% of the time in the last 25 years. So I'm going to look for horses that could either get loose on the lead or have that late surge. Now let's look at each contender. Starting with the number 1 horse, it's Blackout Time. Trained by Kenny McPeek, he'll be ridden by Christian Torres. 2 starts, a win and a place. First race, 6 furlongs at Churchill Downs. He had trouble at the start. He brushed the gate, but somehow he finishes second with a 78 buyer. Then he goes to a 2-turn mile race at Ellis Park. That's key. Now, he was clearly the favorite that day with odds of 1-5, and he dominated. He won by 9 lengths with an 83 buyer. But who did he really beat that day? Many of the horses have raced back and have not gotten over a 60 buyer. So now he's facing stiffer competition. What he has going for him is this, that experience at the 2-turn mile and also his pedigree. He's by Not This Time. Not This Time, as a sire of dirt routers, has a 19% win rate versus the average of 14%. And his dam won at the longer distances, although it was on the turf. Now, what about his running style? Well, based on that last race, it looks like this horse likes to get up to the lead, but looking at his pace and what the pace of the other runners are, I'm not sure he's going to be able to get to the lead. This is a talented runner, and I see potential for improvement, especially with those strong workouts he's posting. But personally, for me, I like others for the win. The next horse is going to be a fan favorite among Philadelphia Eagles fans, and that is the number 2 horse, Big Dom. Trained by Tom Amoss, he'll be ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr., named after the Eagles' chief security officer. How did I know that? I Googled it. One race, and in that race, win a baby. 6 furlongs at Saratoga, $100,000 main race. Press the leader, battle down the stretch, jumps to the front, and wins by a neck with an 84 Beyer. I like the battle and I like the heart, but that's a 6 furlong race. How is he going to do at the longer distance? Well, he's by Mackenzie, and Mackenzie excelled at the longer distance, winning the G1 Whitney in 2019 and second in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And it's also the sire of Baeza, who just won the Pennsylvania Derby and is going to this year's Breeders' Cup Classic. The dam sire is Pulpit, who also excelled at the longer distance. I'm not sure you could tell running style for one race, but if that race is anything, this horse is going to want to get to the lead. But number 7, Ewing, is going to have something to say about that. I like the heart. The pedigree is there. I like the fact he's been training with Tom Amoss's other phenom, It's Our Time. For me, you gotta keep this horse on your radar. The number 3 horse, 2 starts and 2 wins, and that's Diciassette. Trained by Patrick Biancone, he'll be ridden by Jonathan Ocasio. Both races were at Gulfstream. The first, 5 furlongs in a state bred only race, and the second in the Proud Man Stakes, going 6 furlongs on a sloppy track. And in both races, very patient before pouncing and getting the win. Unfortunately though, the speed ratings put him at the bottom of this field. And he's by Matoli, who's known more for sprinting than for routes. So I'm kind of concerned he's not going to be able to get the distance. For me personally, not a contender. Now, before we move on to the next 4 horses, which by the way, they've all been in graded stakes races, if you're finding this information useful, please consider hitting that like button and the subscribe button. I'm going to be bringing you premium content for the Breeders' Cup and all the Derby preps. Also, there's a new button next to the like. It's called the hype button. What the hype button does is it helps promote me, a small creator, to audiences like you. So consider hitting that to help me grow my audience here, or just share this video with all your horse racing buddies. Now on to the other contenders. The number 4 horse already has Derby points. Wait, it's only October. Yes, he won the first Derby race, the G3 Iroquois Stakes, and that's Spice Runner. Spicy, spicy. Trained by Steve Asmussen, he gets Tyler Gaffalione in the irons. Most experienced horse in the field. 4 starts, 2 wins, and a place. Now, he is one of 2 runners that have won at the mile. But just remember, Churchill Downs is a 1-turn mile, so more like an extended sprint. But this horse has the pedigree to get the distance. He's by Gunrunner. Gunrunner has an 18% win rate as a sire of dirt routers, and he himself won many graded stakes races at the longer distance. Top progeny is Sierra Leone, who won the Breeders' Cup Classic last year and also won this year's Whitney. So he's got the class, a win in a graded stakes. Check. He's got the pedigree. What about the speed? Well, it's a little bit lighter than some of the other contenders. Top Beyer is a 76, so he's going to need to improve, but 2-year-old, they can improve. What about running style? Well, he stalks, and that stalking style fits here. I like the win in the Iroquois, I like the pedigree, but he's going to need to improve versus some of the other horses that are entering the starting gate. Maybe not a win contender for me, but I would keep an eye on him for underneath. The number 5 horse is the priciest horse in the field at $875,000 and is shipping from all the way across the country from California. It is Bob Baffert's Litmus Test. Ridden by Flavien Prat, 2 starts and 1 win. Both starts were at Del Mar. Wins. First time going out in a 5.5 furlong, $100,000 maiden race. 78 buyer. But the horses that he beat that day didn't really improve next time out. Then he goes to the G1 Del Mar Futurity, 7 furlongs. Now he's up against Brant. You know Brant, Bob Baffert's $3 million Brant. Now Litmus Test, he's going to take a shot at Brant going around the turn, but he goes wide and he finishes 4th with an 82 buyer. The 82 buyer does put him in the mix, but I had to wonder, why is Bob Baffert shipping him? You got the American Pharaoh at Santa Anita, also a Derby prep with 10 points, also a win and you're in for the Breeders Cup Juvenile, also a 1 16 miles, and Bob Baffert has 4 runners, so it's not like he doesn't want to compete against himself. The only thing I can see was the ownership group of Litmus Test is also the ownership group of Christofferson. And Christofferson is the favorite in the American Pharaoh. So maybe they just didn't want to run against each other. Now, can he get the distance? He's by Nyquist. And Nyquist did excel at the longer distances, but if you look at his top progeny, it's mainly fillies and mares versus colts that are going the longer distances and doing well. But this horse did cost $875,000, so there's a high degree of confidence there. In terms of running style, he's got that big closing kick that I want to see. He's checking off some of the angles, but he's going to need to improve to take on the number 6 horse, Ted Noffey. Now he's producing some fast workouts, but me personally, I like some other contenders here for the win. But if the pace melts down, I would think, my opinion, he may be there in the end. Now, before we move on to Ted Noffey, I just want you to know I exist off of YouTube. You can find me on Instagram at Trifecta and Extra, Facebook, just visit my website, www.trifectaandextra.com. There's a contact me page and you could just drop me a note. Now, on to the favorite. The next horse is a standout, a grade 1 winner and top speed. It is Ted Noffey, trained by Todd Pletcher, who has won this race 4 times in the last 25 years, and it'll be ridden by Johnny Velasquez. 2 races at Saratoga and 2 wins. Bam! First was a 6.5 furlong, $100,000 race, 86 buyer. Then goes to the G1 hopeful, a 7 furlong, and in a grade 1 race, dominates, winning by 8 lengths and a 98 buyer. Jockey Johnny Velasquez says, man, his turn of foot is incredible. Can he get the distance? Well, he's a $650,000 purchase by Into Mischief, and we should all know Into Mischief. He stamped his way through Kentucky Derby 151, sire of sovereignty, the damnest streak of luck, who won the 1 mile Lady Canterbury Stakes on the turf in 2020, and the damn sire is Old Fashioned, who also did well at the longer distance. Pedigree is there. What about running style? Well, he's got that big late pace. To me, tippity top contender. Now, rounding out the field is a horse that I'm very interested in, and that is Ewing. Trained by Mark Casse, he'll be ridden by Jose Ortiz. Now, why am I so fascinated with this horse? Well, go back to the beginning of this video. Who did I talk about winning this race in 2018 at 70 to 1, no less? Nix Go. And who is Ewing's sire? Nix Go. He won a 5.5 furlong, $97,000 maiden special weight at Saratoga, going gate to wire. He destroyed the field, 12 lengths, and earned an 88 buyer. Insane. Also in that race, he brushed the gate, so he even had a bit of trouble. Then he goes into the Saratoga Special, a grade 2, 6.5 furlong. Breaks slow again, but guess what? Gate to wire, 81 buyer. Remember how I told you Nix Go went gate to wire in the Futurity? Yup, just like his daddy. Can he get the distance? Well, he's got Nick's Go as a sire, and his dam sire is Indian Charlie, who won the Santa Anita Derby in 1998 and came in second in the Kentucky Derby that year. So I do think the distance is there. Running style? Well, yeah, he's got that early speed. He can go gate to wire. And if we see what he did in the Saratoga Special again, and remember, he was even off slow in that race, he's going to get loose on the lead. Also recall, we had 7 winners in the last 25 years that went gate to wire. Remember what I told you why I like Nick's Go, the workouts? Look at Ewing's workouts. He's got a bullet for 5 furlongs. Now, personally, for me, he's a top contender. If you don't think so, it will not hurt my feelings because I do understand I'm bringing a lot of my memories of Nick's Go into this assessment, but man, I can't wait to see Ewing run on Saturday. Now, before you go, if you're interested in the Breeders' Cup, I'm going to invite you to watch this video here. For the Breeders' Cup Classic specifically, I have built a framework on 30 years of data. Now, there is no funny business here, no black boxes. This is just the foundation of horse racing handicapping, form, class, and speed. And this framework is especially for beginners, helping you organize your data and narrowing it down to 3 to 4 horses with, get this, an 83% success rate. So go watch the video and then comment and tell me what you think. But now it's your turn here. Drop me a comment below. Who is going to the winner circle on Saturday? Make sure you hit like and hit subscribe. I'm going to have premium content for Breeders' Cup and also other Derby preps. I hope you all find your winner on Saturday. May you sashay away with your money. Until next time, cheers.